U.S. pushes for Gaza truce amid Israeli-Hamas tensions. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has arrived in Israel in his latest effort to negotiate a ceasefire and hostage release deal in Gaza. This visit marks Blinken's ninth trip since the conflict began in October. The U.S. remains optimistic after recent talks in Doha, yet Hamas dismisses any progress as an illusion. Key sticking points include the potential withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, as demanded by Hamas. Blinken is expected to urge Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to agree to a deal without further concessions. Despite U.S. President Joe Biden expressing hope for an imminent agreement, both Israeli and Hamas leaders accuse each other of obstructing a deal. Since the conflict's onset following an October 7 attack on southern Israel, around 1,200 Israelis have been killed and 251 taken hostage, with over 40,000 lives lost in Gaza, according to Hamas-run health ministry records. A previous ceasefire in November resulted in some hostages' release, but significant challenges remain. As Blinken's diplomatic efforts continue, the U.S. faces pressure from both negotiation complexities and domestic electoral considerations.
Ukraine destroys second Russian bridge amid Kursk incursion.
Ukraine claims to have destroyed a second strategic bridge in Russia's Kursk region within a week, as part of its ongoing military incursion.
Ukrainian military released footage of the strike on a bridge over the Seine River in Zavano. President Volodymyr Zelensky described the incursion's goal as creating a buffer zone to prevent Russian attacks.
LT General Mykola Olechuk stated the strikes aim to impair Russian logistics. Despite Ukrainian advances, Russia continues to gain territory in eastern Ukraine.
Meanwhile, concerns about the safety of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant have escalated following a drone strike near its perimeter. IAEA head Rafael Grossi calls for maximum restraint to protect the facility.
Asian currencies reach 7-month high amid easing U.S. recession concerns. Asian currencies soared to a 7-month high as fading U.S. recession fears, expectations of Federal Reserve rate cuts next month, and positive domestic conditions boosted sentiment across the region. The Bloomberg Asia Dollar Index surged by 0.6% on Monday, achieving its highest level since January. The Malaysian ringgit and South Korean won led the gains on the back of strong growth prospects, while the Thai baht appreciated due to reduced political uncertainty after the appointment of a new prime minister.
African cocoa harvest faces challenges despite potential improvements. In Ghana and Ivory Coast, cocoa farmers are cautiously optimistic about the upcoming cocoa harvest despite facing significant challenges.
Diseases, climate change, and low farmer pay have impacted the industry, as highlighted by farmer Moussa Konate in Ivory Coast, whose crop was previously ravaged by disease.
His trees now show signs of recovery with healthy green leaves and abundant pods as the October harvest approaches.
However, these improvements are not expected to affect global chocolate prices.
Reporting from the region, experts emphasize the ongoing struggles within the cocoa sector.
End of major commodity boom. Iron ore prices plummet. The largest commodity boom of the 21st century has officially ended, with iron ore prices dropping drastically. Once a major beneficiary of China's economic surge over the past 25 years, iron ore has seen prices fall below $100 per metric ton, a 55% decline from its 2021 peak of nearly $220. This downturn is attributed to China's shift from heavy investment towards a service-based economy, leading to a peak in steel demand. Hu Wangming, chairman of China Baowu Steel Group Corp., predicts a severe winter for the steel sector, describing it as longer, colder, and more difficult to endure. As China, the world's largest steel producer, pulls back, India may emerge as a new engine of demand, though it is expected to rely on its own ore resources for the foreseeable future.
Thailand's economic growth quickens amid uncertain stimulus plan.
Thailand's economy expanded at its fastest rate in 5 quarters, driven by strong tourism and exports. The National Economic and Social Development Council reported a 2.3% GDP growth for the 3 months ending in June, surpassing the first quarter's revised 1.6% growth. However, uncertainty looms due to a potential leadership change and deliberations over a $14 billion stimulus plan. The Economic Council projects GDP growth of 2.5% in 2024 compared to 1.9% in 2023, with inflation expected to average below the central bank's target range of 1% to 3%.
Apple is playing the long game with switch from Qualcomm modems. Apple's move to drop Qualcomm modem chips won't have a payoff at the outset, but it could set the stage for bigger things later. Also, the company pushes ahead with a tabletop robot. Google's new Pixel devices show how far ahead it is in AI, and the iPhone payment chip will be opened up to third parties.